to my YouTube channel Gayatri Biology. So today we are going to discuss about the second part of the chapter Microorganism Friend and Foe, which is the chapter 2 of class 8. So today we are going to discuss about harmful microorganism. In the part 1 we have discussed about useful microorganism and what is the group of the microorganism and what do you mean by the microorganism or the microbes. Okay, so in this lecture, we are discussing about harmful microorganisms. Microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, plants, and animals. Such diseases causing microorganism called pathogen. So what do you mean by pathogen? Disease causing microorganism known as pathogen. Got it? Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing, and leather. Let us study more about their harmful activities. Disease causing microorganism in human. Pathogen enter into our body through the air we breathe. Got it? The water we drink or the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried by an animals. For example, microbial disease that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable disease. Right? Microbial disease that can be spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, and physical contact are called communicable disease. For example, common cold is the best example of that. As you see in your daily life, when a person is suffering from cold, and this person will be contact with the healthy person, then the virus is transferred from infected person to healthy person. So such type of diseases which is infected, which is caused by direct interaction of a person between by the direct interaction between the person, which persons, the infected person and healthy person. So these viruses are transferred directly. So these diseases are known as communicable disease. As you seen in common cold, rhinovirus is the common cold virus which is transferred from infected person to a healthy person. Got it? When a person suffering from a common cold sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are sprayed in the air. The virus may enter into the body of a healthy person while breathing and cause infections. Got it? Now, then how do you prevent the spread of communicable diseases? So how can we prevent the spreadness of the communicable diseases? To make distance from that infected person so that the virus can't be reached to your and not not share any objects or any particles or any food items with that infected person, so that virus of that in particular disease will not enter into your body. So that, okay. Now there are some insects and animals which act as a carrier of disease causing microbes. Housefly is one of such carrier. Okay, what do you mean by carriers? Carriers are something which transfer a disease from one place to another place. For example, housefly act as a carrier of various disease. For example, typhoid, dysentery, cholera. In this disease, housefly act as a carrier. What the housefly do? Housefly generally sit on the garbage fecal material and pick up the spores or pick up the harmful spores from that garbage. And this housefly, the same housefly, when sit on the food and the drinking water or some drink material, so they left their spore, the infected spores on that food. When a human consume this food, they will be infected. So means housefly act as a carrier in this disease. The fly sit on the garbage, right? The fly sit on the garbage and animal excrete. Pathogens stick to their bodies. Got it? When these flies sit on the uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogens. Whoever eat the contaminated food likely to get sick. That's it, what I have told. So it is advisable to always keep food covered. Avoid consuming uncovered items of food. Another example of a carrier is the female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria, Plasmodium. Female Aedes mosquito act as a carrier of dengue virus. How can we control the spread of the malaria and dengue? Now your question will be, ma'am, how the Anopheles mosquito act as a carrier? Suppose a person who is suffering from the malaria and the female Anopheles mosquito bite on the infected person, so that infected person from that the body of the infected person, these Anopheles mosquito take these infected spores, and the same Anopheles mosquito sit or bite on the healthy human. They release this infected spores into the healthy human body, and the now healthy human, which is healthy before some time, now it will be, now he or she will be also infected with the malaria. Why? Because these Anopheles mosquito release the infected spores from the infected person to the healthy one and make it infected. Okay. Now, all mosquito breed in water, hence one should not let water collect anywhere in coolers, tires, flower pots, etc. Okay, by keeping the surrounding clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. Try to make a list of measures which help to avoid the spread of the malaria. This is the table where some common human disease caused by microorganism is given, where the human disease and causative microorganism, how they transfer and how they can be preventive. For example, there is a tuberculosis which is generally called TB. TB is caused by the bacteria and the mode of transmission is air. Air means when an infected person which is suffering from TB, when it is cough or sneeze something, then the spores of the TB is spread out in the air. Well, when the healthy human take breathe in the same air, these spores enter into the human body, and now the healthy person will also affected with the TB. Okay, so how can we preventive? Keep the patients in the complete isolation. Keep the personal belonging of the patient away from those of the other. Vaccination should be given at the suitable age. Right. Second one is measles. Measles caused by the virus and the mode of transmission again air. Chickenpox caused by virus and air and direct contact will be the mode of transmission. Polio is also caused by the virus and mode of transmission is air and contaminated water. Okay, so these four diseases can be prevented by such methods. Now, cholera. Cholera is caused by the bacteria, and water and food. Maintain personal hygiene and good sanitary habitats, not habitats. Consume properly cooked food and boiled drinking water. Vaccination should be given. Now, hepatitis A. Hepatitis A is caused by virus and mode of transmission is water, that is contaminated water. So, how can be prevented? Drink boiled drinking water and vaccination should be provided to the suffering person. Now, the fourth disease is malaria. As we already discussed about it, it is caused by the protozoa and mode of transmission is mosquito. What mosquito? Female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, use mosquito net. We can use mosquito net and repellents which repel the mosquito. Spray insecticide and control breeding of mosquito by not allowing water to collect in the surrounding. Means when our cooler have a lot of water from the several days, so we have not collect in the coolers, we have to just expel out, or we have to just throw and clean our cooler so that these mosquito can't be bred on that water and can't and not be able to cause any diseases. Got it? Now, some of the common diseases affecting humans, their mode of transmission, and few general methods of prevention are shown in table 2.1. This is the table 2.1. This one is the table 2.1 which we have already discussed. Now, disease causing microorganisms in animals. Several microorganisms not only cause disease in humans but also cause disease in plants and also in other animals. For example, anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by the bacteria. Now remember that anthrax is the disease which occur in the cattle and human caused by the bacterium, right? Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by the virus. Remember, Robert Koch discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis which cause anthrax disease. Learn the name of the scientist who discovered bacteria which is responsible for causing anthrax disease. Disease causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause disease in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others. The disease reduce the yield of crops for some such plants. Disease they can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill the microbe. So what will be the microbes and what will be the disease of plants? Plant disease is citrus canker. Microorganism is bacteria, means citrus canker is the plant disease which caused by the bacteria, and how they transfer air through air. Second one is rust of wheat. This is caused by fungi, and air and seeds are the mode of the transmission, right? Third one is yellow vein mosaic of bhindi, which is caused by virus, and the mode of transmission is insect. Now, what do you mean by food poisoning? Bujo was invited by his friend to a party and he ate a variety of foodstuffs. Okay. On reaching home, he started vomiting and had to be taken to hospital. The doctor said that this condition could be due to food poisoning. So, what do you mean by food poisoning? Food poisoning could be due to the consumption of the spoiled food. When we consume the spoiled food, by which is spoiled by the some microorganism, then food poisoning cause in our body. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substance. These make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death if the disease will not treat. So it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. Next, food preservation. In chapter 1, we have learned about the methods used to preserve and store food grains, right? In the crop production and the management, which is the chapter 1 of the class 8, we have discussed about food preservation, means the methods used to preserve and store food grains. How do we preserve cooked food at home? You know that bread left unused under moist condition is it attacked by fungus. Okay, you see in your daily life, when a bread is left unused in under the moist conditions, then fungus start to growing on the bread and the bread will be spoiled. Microorganism means microorganism spoil our food. Spoiled foods emits bad smell, right, and had a bad taste and change color, right? When the bread is white in colors, when the fungus start to grow on that bread, it will be greenish in color. So there is a change in color, there is a smell, there is a bad taste. Is spoiling of food is a chemical reaction? Paheli bought some mangoes, but she could not eat them for a few days. Later, she found that they were spoiled and rotten, but she knows that mango pickle her grandmother makes does not spoil for a long time. She is confused. What could be the reason behind that? Means Paheli is confused when he brought the mangoes and not eat them for a few days, then they start to become spoiled. But mango pickle, which is made by her grandmother, does not spoil for a long time. What could be the reason behind that? Let us study the common methods of preserving food in our homes. We have to save it from the attack of the microorganism, right? Chemical methods. Salts and edible oils are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of the microorganism. Therefore, they are called preservatives. So here you find out your answer. Why the mangoes which is taken by the buzo is not has not spoiled by the microorganisms? Mangoes has spoiled by the microorganisms, but mango pickle which is made by her grandmother, not spoiled. And the reason behind it, because when we make mango pickle we use salts and edibles oil, right, which can be act as a preservatives. That is the reason the pickle not spoiled, right? We add salt or acid preservative to pickles to prevent the attack of the microbes. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate are common preservative. Learn the preservatives example. What example? Learn these examples. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are common preservatives. These are also used in the jams, right? And squashes to check their spoilage. Preservation by common salt. Common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. Meat and fish are covered with dry salt to check the growth of the bacteria. Salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Now we are going to discuss about preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies, and squashes are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content which is present in the jam jellies. And as you know, when the moisture is gone from something, it will be not spoiled, right? Which inhibits the growth of the bacteria which spoil food. Now, preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria can't live in such an environment, right? Vegetables, fruits, fish, and meat are often preserved by this method. Now, heat and cold treatment. You must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. Boiling kills many or microorganisms. That is the reason your mother boiled the milk before store. Similarly, we keep our food in the refrigerator. Low temperature inhibit the growth of the microbes. For example, if we make a food and we left this food outside the refrigerator, so there are a lot of microorganisms which can grow at the normal temperature and can spoil our food. But when we put this food into the refrigerator, in refrigerator there is a cold condition, means temperature is very low, and this temperature is not sufficient for growing of those microorganisms which are growing outside the refrigerators, right? So these microorganisms unable to grow at that low temperature, so our food don't be spoiled and we can use it. Why does the milk that comes in packets not spoil? My mother told me that the milk is pasteurized. So what do you mean by pasteurization? Pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. The milk is heated to about 70 degrees Celsius. As you know, when we heat something, right? So there is a lot of microorganism will dead. That is the reason pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling and it is free from harmful microbes. The milk is heated to about 70 degrees Celsius for 50 to 30 seconds only and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of the microbes. This process was discovered by Louis Pasteur. So who discovered pasteurization? So you should know about the name of the scientist, right? Pasteurization is the method in which milk can be boiled at 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. And this method is given by the Louis Pasteur. That's why its name given to the pasteurization. Got it? Storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets so that to prevent the attack of the microbes. As you've seen, when you bring some packets of something, right, to eat, when you open it, right, and left it for some time, then it can be start to spoil. Why? Because the oxygen, because now it is open and there is a lot of microbes present in the airs, right, which can cause spoilness to the food. But when the food present in the packets and then this packets is not open or present an unopened form, so their microorganism have no chance to spoil that. So that's why vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of the microbes. Now we are discussing about nitrogen fixation, right? You have learned about the bacteria rhizobium in class 6 and 7. Of course, we have learned. Rhizobium is the name of the bacteria which help in the nitrogen fixation basically. It is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants. What do you mean by leguminous plants? Pulses. Have you know about pulses? Means dale. Recall that rhizobium lives in the root nodules of the leguminous plant, such beans, peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Now, you will ask, ma'am, what do you mean by symbiotic relationship? Like, symbiotic relationship is the mutual relationship in which both of the organism provide benefit to each other. Okay? For example, there is a two person and one person provide food or shelter to food. There is a two person, right? One person provide shelter to another person and another person provide food to the first person, so means they are benefit to each other. So this relationship is called symbiotic relationship or mutual relationship in which two organisms are beneficial for each other. Okay, sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the axon of lightning, but you know that the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. You may wonder how. Let us understand this in the next section. Nitrogen can be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into a compounds of nitrogen. This process is known as the nitrogen fixation, right? Nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert into the compounds of nitrogen, right? Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds and can be utilized by plants from the soil through their root system, nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins. As you know, protein, right? Protein is made by amino acid. Protein is a polymer. About polymer you will study in higher classes. So made these polymers, we have to use monomer. Means there are lot of monomer combined then to form polymers. Mono means single, poly means more than one, right? Or more than two. There are a lot of. So when the monomers are combined to then form polymers, the monomers of the protein is known as amino acid. When lot of amino acids combine, they will lead to the formation of the protein. Got it? And these amino acid and amino acid have nitrogen. So basically, to synthesize protein, we have required nitrogen. Got it? That's why here is written nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert these nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compound, which is used by the plant again. Certain other bacteria convert some part of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. As a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remain more or less constant. There is no effect on the nitrogen concentration in the atmosphere, right? So here we are discussing about the nitrogen cycle, means how the nitrogen will fix in the atmosphere and how the content of the nitrogen more or less constant in the atmosphere. Got it? So first there is a atmospheric nitrogen which is present, means nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere. This atmospheric nitrogen is fixed by the bacteria and these bacteria is known as the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Example, rhizobium, as you study before, right? Rhizobium. There is a lot of example of nitrogen fixing bacteria like Anabina, Azotobacter, Clostridium. There are a lot of example of the nitrogen fixing bacteria, right? Now these bacteria which fix the nitrogen, right? Now bacteria in turn fix nitrogen into nitrogenous compound. Now these nitrogenous compound will enter into the soil, right? Compounds of nitrogen enter into the soil. Now bacteria turn compounds of nitrogen into a gaseous nitrogen, and these gaseous nitrogen, the gaseous form of the nitrogen again comes into the atmosphere and form the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, now see, compounds of nitrogen in the soil, they can take up by the plants because plant root is embedded in the soil. When the nitrogen is present in the soil, then the plant easily take these nitrogen from the soil, right? So uptake by the plants. Now animals generally eat the plants, so animals eat plants, so they automatically get nitrogen from the plants get nitrogen from the soil, and animal get nitrogen from the plant. Now the animals excrete fecal material. Through this fecal material, nitrogenous waste from excretion and death. Now that nitrogenous waste comes out from this body and they goes again into the soil, now again used by plants, then eat by animals, then excrete, and this. Now this cycle is continuously going on. Okay, so that is about the whole chapter. In the next lecture we will discuss about the questions answer of this chapter. So till that, bye bye, take care, like, subscribe and comment. Okay, bye bye.